Millions around the world love my guest today from The Ellen Show. He has a kick-ass YouTube channel and a brand new holiday album called For Christmas Sake. He's Kalen Allen, and this is Jason Unleashed. Kalen Allen, welcome to Jason Unleashed.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing, brother?
I'm wonderful. You look very festive today. I love the red and the white.
You know, it's the holiday season, believe it or not. Even though COVID has thrown off everything, it's Christmas time. So I felt like, let me be festive for Mr. Allen because you're bringing all the holiday goodies. Forget Mariah Carey. You are the king and queen of Christmas.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if I could take her. I mean, she done had this throne for 25 years now, so I don't know about that one.
Well, hey, man, look, in my world, you're definitely up there with Mariah. Man, this new album, For Christmas Sake, Kalen, 5 songs, original music, 2 covers, recording this album, man. First of all, what made you want to do a holiday album?
Well, I came up with the idea actually in March at the beginning of the pandemic. And I just thought about in general how every year, no matter what goes on in my life, when I get to the holiday season, I'm just filled with so much joy and happiness and peace, right? And so I said, I'm going to make a Christmas album to hopefully bring some of that energy into households because I know that the holidays are going to be so different this year.
Right. You talk about the holidays as if they are a place of love and acceptance. For you, what has the holidays meant to you in growing up? And also, how has the holidays become a space for happiness for you in your adult life, also for the LGBTQ plus community that you have called your family?
Well, I think there's two sides of it. I think growing up as a kid, the holidays were just such a special time. It was never about the gifts really. It was about the community. It was about the way that the entire city was just turned upside down into this magical wonderland of Christmas, and the feeling that came along with that and the feeling that the music brought to me, listening to Mariah's album or Whitney Houston's album, the way
Yes.
that that would make me feel, and then I remember when I first started and lived in LA, I didn't go home for Christmas one year. And I thought about the fact it was right after I had come out. And I
Mm,
didn't go home because I didn't know how people were going to react to
right.
me. And that made me nervous. But then I thought about how it was a privilege that I was able to still have a Christmas. Like I was able to go to New York and invite some friends and still have the best Christmas. And I thought about all the other LGBTQ plus families and youth that don't get that opportunity, to which Christmas is not very joyful for them. And so that's why also specifically Christmas Lives Within You is written about that experience, about how the holidays lives within us and it's not necessarily about, trees and gleam and getting gifts.
5 songs. You have 2 covers, 3 original tracks. You have MJ Rodriguez on Christmas Lives Within You. Also, Alex Newell's on the track on one of the tracks. What was the process recording this? Because making an album is not easy.
No, it's not. So and also the fact of being in a pandemic.
Right.
So I recorded all my parts in Burbank. So I went to a studio in Burbank. It was only like 3 of us in there, and I did all my vocals in about 3 days. And I mean, we were taping in the middle of the night. Like it was like nights that would go into like 6 a.m. of me singing into the night.
Wow.
I was exhausted. And what happened was I contacted MJ. MJ was in New York. I booked her space in New York to do her part. And then I contacted Alex, who was in Vancouver shooting. And so I booked a studio for Alex in Vancouver, and everybody was like so willing to do it. And I think just because as creators, we hadn't been creating because of the pandemic. So everybody, when they heard that it was happening, they were like, oh, yes. And what's also exciting is that we also shot a short film slash visual album to go along with the album that has some pretty big people. So I'm excited for everybody to see that as well.
When is that dropping?
So that's coming out December 2nd.
When you decided to do a holiday album, were there people who were telling you, "Oh, Kalen, no, don't do that. Like, no one's going to be into that." How did you really decide, "Hey, I want to do this"? And then, what were the challenges of making this come to fruition? I'm sure there were some hurdles you had to get over.
I think for me is that I never really asked permission. I don't think I even talked to anybody about it until I had already recorded it. It was a conversation that me and my vocal coach were having, and that was how it started. And then I didn't tell anybody until it was already recorded. So I was, and that's just who I am. I'm very much like, I don't need anybody else's permission. So I was just like, great, let's do it. Boom, bam, diggity. I
Mhm.
think the hurdles that I ran into was trying to figure out, honestly, what songs to do, or how long should the album be? Because making an album is so expensive when you're
Yeah.
talking about studio time. You have all these collaborators and figuring out how to, marketing and stuff like that. But I would have to say it's probably the hardest thing for me.
Wow. Well, I mean, you definitely mastered it because it's incredible. Such great music. So festive, so fun, so fresh for a holiday album. Kalen, 2020 has seen you really do some work, not only professionally, but personally. Over the summer or in late summer, you deleted everyone off of Instagram and you really revamped and reemerged as someone completely different as a talent and as a young man. Tell us about that, because not only did we get a whole new Kalen, we have all new Kalen content with Personally Kalen, a revamp of OMKalen. What
Mhm.
was the genesis and the impetus for doing that?
So it really all started during the Black Lives Matter movement. I received a lot of backlash and lost thousands and thousands of followers about me speaking up about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And people very much operated in a space of telling me to just perform, just make them laugh. And that bothered me because I did not see myself as some type of puppet or some type of clown. And I wasn't going to allow people to try and tell me that's who I was supposed to be, all for the purpose of a check or a
Mhm.
like or a follow. And
Sure.
so from that moment, I looked back on my entire career and I looked at everything that I had done and I said, am I truly doing what fulfills not only my audience, but me as well? And then that was when I made the decision that I needed to do a reintroduction. And so then from that moment on, I stepped back and I stopped and I really did some processing. I said, I want Kalen to feel like this. I want to do personally Kalen. I want to talk about self help. I want to do motivational things because I love to talk to people. I love to help people. I want to give them multiple things of Kalen so
Mhm.
that people can find what they like and then they can choose what they want out of the variety that I'm supplying.
When I talked to you in April, earlier this April of this year, you had said that the dream, the goal for you yourself was a talk show. Was that's what you wanted to be? You wanted to be a household name, a
Mhm,
male Oprah.
mhm.
You're doing that with Personally Kalen. I think this rebrand is genius, and I think it's so authentic. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you're trying to be something that you're not, because it's coming from a very authentic place that obviously you thought through and pulled from a visceral place inside of yourself as to who you are now. Everyone's changed this year, right? Some people for the worse, but for yourself, you have reemerged a completely different man to me. What has the response been from your fans, your community, your public, your audience?
I lost a lot of followers, but what has been refreshing is gaining the followers back. But I think when I don't get anxiety to read the comment section anymore
Mhm.
because now all my fans are like real fans.
Mhm.
Like they want to see me succeed. They want to see me do everything. They want to see me grow. They understand that I am not a monolith. And so
Yes.
that has really helped and motivated me to continue to do what I'm doing and to also reassure me that I made the right decision, you know?
Mhm.
And so I have really loved the feedback. I mean, I met somebody today. I was walking around, and this lady got so emotional because she felt that me taking the time to step back and to reintroduce myself was so courageous.
Yeah,
And she felt like it
absolutely.
really inspired her as well to live truly in her in who she is, because in Hollywood, it's easy for people to just put on a mask and just say,
Mhm.
like, well, this is who I'm going to be for the camera. And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be two different people.
It is absolutely courageous. Kaylin, when you told me, when we talked right afterwards, very briefly, when you had made the drastic move, because it's a very drastic move,
Hmm.
I thought, wow, for someone so young and so public to do this, it is absolutely courageous. I commend you for that, because not a lot of
Thank
people, hell, you have millions of followers. I really have 50,000 followers. And even I would have anxiety making a choice to say, let me just completely wipe the slate clean and invite whoever wants to come for the ride on the ride and see what happens. But that's the universe. You stepped out on faith. You stepped out on
Yes.
faith. And look how it's
Yes.
rewarded you. And now we have this album. What is the feeling you want people to walk away from for Christmas sake after listening to it? And do we think it's going to be a classic?
I think that people, this specifically for Christmas sake, the title song is so specific to now. I think that is the song that you can play year round because it makes sense. Like you can feel that connection. I do hope that when people listen to the album, they just feel a little bit more hope
Yeah.
for this holiday season. And I was very specific to give everybody a little bit of everything. Each song is very different from the other. There's a lot of variety on the album because I wanted people to play whatever their favorite song was and to feel a connection to it. Everything that I do, I try to be as relatable as possible. And so that is why I think that's what For Christmas Sake does. It's a relatable Christmas album that you can play at any time and it doesn't sound like anybody else's.
It does not. It's very relatable, very fun, very jovial. The levity is truly there. With that said, what is that one Christmas album that you can play besides your own, besides For Christmas Sake, which is available
Uh-huh.
now on iTunes and Amazon and every place where there's streaming music? What is your favorite? I gotta plug you, Kay. I gotta
Thank
plug you. I gotta
you.
plug you, brother. But
Thank you.
what is your favorite Christmas album?
Oh, definitely. Oh. I would have to say Mariah Carey's Merry Christmas, but the second one.
Okay.
And see, most people don't know about the second album. Most people just go to the first one because that's where All I Want for Christmas Is You was at.
Right. Mary.
But yes, but she has a second one.
Yeah.
And on the second one, she does a duet with her mother. Oh, Come All Ye Faithful with Hallelujah chorus. Oh, baby, that second album, perfection. Mariah, and when I did my album, I kind of took note from Mariah because the thing about Mariah Carey's Christmas album is you can tell that she actually treated it as an actual album.
Right.
Like most people just like, oh, this is just cute for now.
Honorable mention though for an amazing Christmas album, Toni Braxton's Snowflakes. Get into it. You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I know you love some Toni Braxton.
Love me some Toni Braxton. And that is, you talk about a cohesive Christmas album, much like your album with original music. Toni Braxton has some standards, but the original content, like your album, is fresh. It's new. It gives a whole new face to the holiday season that's not rooted in religion or faith. It's just about the energy, the magic, and the vibrancy of the holiday season. I love it. I love it. We love For Christmas Sake. Guys, go pick it up now. Kalen's 5-song EP that is incredible. And December 2nd, check out the visual album dropping as well. Kalen Allen. Wow,
Thank
brother.
you.
Good to see you.
You too. We doing it, baby.
We are doing it. And 2021 is going to be lit. Also, guys, head on over to YouTube and check out PersonallyKalen and also the new edition of OMKalen. Kalen, always good to see you. Happy holidays, man.
Thank you so much, Jason.